Let's do a quick introduction to set theory, and in this video we'll specifically look at what we're calling sets of numbers. So as you can see on the screen, I've included my WhatsApp number just in case you want to contact me or ask me anything. You can text me using that number. So what are sets of numbers? In set theory, you find that numbers are given into a lot of different categories. So even before you start drawing Venn diagrams and solving questions, you need to understand what these things that we're calling sets of numbers, the categories of numbers. So the first category that you need to consider are what we are calling natural numbers. Need to know what natural numbers are, or aka we can call them counting numbers. So natural numbers are just basically numbers starting from 1 and going forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going forward are what we're calling natural numbers. And when you are counting, usually we start with 1, hence the nickname counting numbers. Okay. The other type of numbers that you would like to consider, that you have to know, are what we're calling whole numbers. Whole numbers are just basically an upgrade to natural numbers because they are natural numbers, but we just include 0. So numbers starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 going forward are what we are calling whole numbers. Moving from whole numbers, we find that we have a different set of numbers that we call integers. So integers are an upgrade to the first set of numbers that we had, due to the fact that they include negative numbers. So we can have an example for integers to be let's say -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. These all are what we're calling integers. When we move from integers, we'll go to a different set of numbers. And this set of numbers is what we're calling rational numbers. And rational numbers are an upgrade to the previous sets of numbers that we had, due to the fact that they include fractions and they can be expressed in a form of a ratio. So that's where the name is coming from, ration. So they can be written as fractions. For example, 2/3, uh, 5/3, 1/2. These are rational numbers, but they also include these other sets of numbers that we talked about, like the 3, 0, 1. So it's just all the above sets of numbers, including what? Including fractions, are what we're calling rational numbers. Right. When we move from rational numbers, there's a distinct group of numbers that is not part of these numbers. We call them irrational numbers. And irrational numbers, irrational irrational numbers cannot be expressed in form of a fraction or in form of a ratio. These numbers are numbers like √2 or √3, pi, what other numbers? √5. These are irrational. They can't be expressed in form of fraction. Okay. So these are separate. They cannot be included in all these other sets of numbers that we've talked about. But if we get all these groups of numbers, starting from the natural numbers, the whole numbers, the integers, the rational numbers, and the irrational numbers, they make up a larger set of numbers that we call real numbers. Okay. So real numbers are made up of all the numbers, sets of numbers that we've talked about. And to summarize what we've talked about in sets of numbers, we can summarize it in a Venn diagram. Okay, so the first set that we are going to have is the set of natural numbers. And the second set that we are going to have is the set of whole numbers, because we are including 0. And in the set of natural numbers are numbers like 1, 2, 3, going upwards. The next set that we are going to have is the set of integers. Okay. Due to the fact that we are including negative values, the next set that we are going to have is the set of rational numbers, because we are including fractions. And we have a distinct set that is just alone which we are calling irrational numbers. And these are numbers like root 2, pi, and so on. And if we take all these numbers, we are putting them in a universal set. And this universal set, we are calling it real numbers. Okay. So you need to know these numbers, because you'll be asked in a question like, okay, they will, instead of giving you the values, they will just say a set of real numbers. So if you don't know what real numbers are, you'll be confused. If you don't know what rational numbers are, you'll be confused. So you need to know these things. So these are not all the sets of numbers. There are other sets like prime numbers and so on. But these are the basic that you need to know as you progress in set theory. So in the next video, I will continue and see what we can look at under this topic.